Today we're unpacking something that has shaken South African politics and traditional leadership circles. We're talking about King Vuyelekhaya Dalindyebo's criticism of President Cyril Ramaphosa over an Israeli delegation visit and what this tells us about leadership, loyalty, and South Africa's role on the global stage.
Molini, and welcome to yet another episode of Conversations with Nkosi. Now, this is the news commentary section where we will be offering insightful commentary and exploring various perspectives on the stories that shape our world.
Now, guys, before we dive into today's story, quick reminder, if you haven't watched my video on South Africa's position on the Israel versus Palestine conflict, please do go and watch that first. I will link it right here because it gives an important background that will help you understand why this controversy matters so much. With that being said, let us so much as get into why we are here. King Vuyelekhaya Dalindyebo criticizes President Ramaphosa over Israel delegation visit. Defiant King Vuyelekhaya Dalindyebo has belittled President Cyril Ramaphosa and Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane to little boys whom he did not feel obliged to inform about the Israel delegation visit to his Abatembu nation. The state has condemned the king for hosting the Israeli officials without informing government authorities. This has led to Ariel Seidman, the charge d'affaires of the Israeli embassy, packing within 72 hours after being declared persona non grata. He was stepping down from his traditional authority following criticism, including from the provincial government, for receiving Israeli Foreign Affairs Ministry senior official David Saranga in his Bombane Great Place Palace outside Mthatha. During an interview with Newsroom Africa news anchor Thabo Mdluli on January 30, he stated that there was no reason for him to ask for permission to receive the delegation. He also took the Israeli dignitaries on a tour to Mthatha General Hospital and the local campus of Walter Sisulu University without informing the provincial government. Certainly, I would like you to understand that as a king, I am the number one custodian. I don't see any head of state or premier that is above a king, and to question or for me to be obliged to small boys like that, it would be out of logic and out of God's order, said the king. According to king spokesperson Ntando Dalindyebo, Saranga donated 180,000 rand to the soup kitchen run by King's Queen to feed residents who were left homeless by the floods that hit Mthatha in May last year. He said he did not have to report that donation to the South African Revenue Service. How many people have been given donations here without being questioned? The Arab Emirates donated 35 million rand and nobody questioned why. And what makes me sick is that the money has not been accounted for. Oscar Mabuyane knows where that money ended up, and we are facing a problem where we are dealing with the kleptomaniac thieves from premier to president, because the president also donated for the floods about 1 billion rand, and that money has not been accounted for, as Mabuyane and cronies have already misappropriated it, he said. Now, guys, the article to the link will be in the description box below. Now, let us get into what we got from the article. Now, here's what really matters. 1, protocol was clearly breached. International visits, especially those involving foreign officials, are usually coordinated through government channels to avoid diplomatic friction. 2, traditional authority versus democratic structures. Dalindyebo's insistence that he doesn't need government permission highlights an ongoing tension between traditional leadership and the state. 3, the government responded strongly. Expelling an Israeli diplomat is a major diplomatic step that reflects the seriousness of the matter. Now, the controversy is bigger than a hospital visit. It speaks to questions of who represents South Africa internationally and how authority should be exercised. Now, people may be asking, but why is the king moving like a sellout? Well, let's break down the big elephant in the room. Guys, in all honesty, I'm in, I'm out, I'm 1 foot in, I'm 1 foot out, because again, I get it, I really do. I mean, it does come off as if, he is undermining state authority. Hosting foreign delegations without government coordination can be seen as undercutting South Africa's foreign policy and diplomatic mechanisms, which is a serious strategic misstep. And calling the president and premier little boys publicly is inflammatory, and it suggests contempt for the elected leadership that actually governs. Inviting foreign officials into public institutions without oversight raises questions about who benefits and whether there's accountability for any assistance provided. Nakwana, guys, what if, I'm not saying they did, but what if these were terrorists and we did not know, and they shot down the school, or they shot down the hospital, So these are the things that we just cannot just turn a blind eye. He may have his differences with the premier and, the president, but he should have taken the entire Xhosa nation's safety into consideration. Now, given South Africa's historical and legal position against perceived injustice and occupation in Palestine, critics argue that this move contradicts the state's principled foreign policy stance. Another thing, it's quite interesting how the king remembers he's a king and then he forgets, at certain times. It's quite interesting to me, if you may. Now, put simply, it feels like he's prioritizing his own agenda over both constitutional order and South Africa's broader diplomatic commitments. So, here's where we are. King Dalindyebo's bold move is not just about welcoming guests. It's a power struggle, a clash of worldviews, and a test of Southeast democratic integrity. I genuinely want to see where this war is actually going to end up. Because I low-key feel like if he wasn't beefing with the premier, it was not going to turn out the way it did. And in all honesty, if money didn't disappear, we wouldn't be here right now. I'm not trying to justify the king. Vele, what he's doing is wrong. But then again, let's not turn a blind eye to what could have led him to embark on this path that he decided to take as an individual and an individual alone, because he clearly is not putting his people first. Literally. And if the king does believe that tradition gives him autonomy, and then you have the government that insists that foreign engagements must be coordinated under the constitution, the public is then left to ask who should really be steering South Africa's international agreements. With that being said, guys, please do leave a comment. Now I want to know what you guys think about this whole saga, and if you think it's going to be the first of many beefs between this king and the South African government as a whole.
That marks the end of today's video. Thank you so much for lending your eyes and ears. I hope that you found today's video informative. Please do not forget to click on that subscription button or light the little notification bell so that you do not miss out on any new uploads. Nkosi.